If you're in the right session, then it's making sense of small data and big data. My name's Adrian Weaver, and I'm the Global Product Manager for NetDimensions. And the title of this doesn't make a huge amount of sense itself, so I guess I should get started now. So, first slide. Data. There's lots of it. It's increasing at an exponential rate. The world's per-person capacity of stored information has roughly doubled every 30 months since the 1980s. It's really quite astonishing. Now you get free with an email account the sort of data storage that 20 years ago would have cost you tens of thousands of pounds a year to have on site yourself. That's the rate at which things are moving. So there's a lot of data. And as a result of that, there's more and more big data. There's more and more clumps of data sitting around that are just vast. So when we use the term big data, what do we actually mean? Well, big data refers to sets of data that are so large and complicated that they can't be manipulated, they can't be analyzed using sort of standard database techniques and technology. I guess the easiest way to explain it is to look at a sort of standard example, and I guess the best example is big data in the supermarket industry. You only have to look at the likes of Walmart and Tesco's. They've been doing this for years and years and years, and it's actually given them a huge advantage over their competitors. Walmart have actually been at the forefront of this now for 20 years, and Tesco's in this country are pretty much the same. So how have they been using big data? Well, it's the data they've collected and analyzed. You know, there's so much of it. Each item purchased, the time of purchase, the place, the number of that particular items purchased, the price paid, and particularly the items purchased alongside it, to find what items are related, so that they can work out when they're restocking, when they're putting inventory up, what to do. But also key to this is they recognized early on, Tesco's and Walmart, the value of reward cards, because it's not just looking at each individual purchase as a separate thing. If you can link those together and you know who bought them, whether they were male or female, their age, their home location, and the previous purchases of items, you can really extract useful information from that. And they've been working hard on that for years and years. So they have absolutely vast amounts of information, and they then cross-reference this with things like on a raining day, or was it 2 days before a bank holiday, and was the weather forecast good? You know, they move things on shelves to go to the end of the shelf and be a special promotion. It has completely changed the way that they operate their industry. So that's really about big data. But from our perspective, from most organizations' perspective, so what? Does that mean we should all be looking at big data now? No, we shouldn't, or at least not necessarily. Not all organizations generate enough complex data, enough volume of data to really need to use, to consider things as big data. They can use standard database tools and technologies, and that will be perfectly adequate. So everyone needs to look at big data? I think the answer is no, but I do think everybody should be looking at small data. And let me explain what I mean by that. Small data is the data you already collect, accessed using standard reporting tools with standard analysis. It doesn't require a great shift in technical expertise or an investment in understanding complex statistics. It's something you can do now, and you should be doing it. So how do you use small data? Well, quite simply, the majority of decisions can be improved by considering quite simple data. Take the low-hanging fruit first. A lot of people miss out on just looking at their simple data because they can't get access to it easily, or they don't have tools to pull it out quickly, and so it's an effort, so they don't do it. And that's really where things need to change. Because only when small data is understood can organizations really see whether they need to move to a more big data approach. But certainly, if you don't understand your small data, if you don't understand it at the first primary level you're looking at things, then the move to big data will definitely fail. Increasingly, data is the key to a lot of decisions in business. Everyone can do their jobs better if they make decisions and take actions based on actual information rather than intuition, guesstimates, or how things have already been done. So data-driven decisions are becoming the norm. In fact, there's a lot of people who talk about themselves being, data-driven executives, which is frankly nonsense. They just like actually having something to back up their decisions, as do we all. So as far as the stages of data usage are concerned, the standard stage, and the stage that most people are at the moment, is receiving data. It's operational, reactive data. You have reports set up, you receive those reports, they're pushed to you, and that allows you to comply with the requirements of your job. It allows you to do the processes involved in your job at the moment. And that's the first stage, and most organizations, frankly, or most functions, should I say, within most organizations are still at that stage. The second stage is actually seeking out data, proactively looking to report. Not necessarily on stuff that's touching your nose at a particular moment in time, but because it's relatively easy to report on things and you understand the data, you might decide that you're going to do a bit of exploration, see if you can find further information and background before you make additional moves. And the final part is the analytics, analyzing data, strategic, predictive analytics, and beyond that, I guess, if you need to, then big data. However, taking a simple, small data approach and a focus on that will move you from stage 1 along to stage 2 as a natural part of that process. So the small data approach requires easy access to data. It requires an easy-to-use, simple ad hoc reporting tool, which people can work with simply without significant amounts of training, that they can get quick results from. And they need to, you need easily understood data. There needs to be documentation and help so people can know what data they actually have to look at. So then they can decide, well, I want to use this field combined with this field and produce a report. But if you put these components together, it inevitably moves organizations from stage 1 to stage 2. And they start proactively developing reports. And then, as people do that and they proactively develop reports, they'll develop a deeper understanding of the data, and that's really the key. Reports that are pushed out to people don't demand anything of the recipient of that report. If they're used to moving data around, they're used to writing their reports and doing analytics, they'll better understand the data that they've got. They'll work out new uses for that data, new data combinations, and new interpretations of the data. So that proactive reporting, as you get more experienced at it, as you get a deeper understanding of the data, this brings you to stage 3, analyzing data, strategic predictive analytics. And that's where we are at NetDimensions. We are releasing NetDimensions Analytics. There's 2 sides to this. It has a small data approach, so it provides easy access to data, an easy-to-use ad hoc reporting and analysis tool based upon the latest available technology, and obviously easy understood data. We'll make sure that documentation and help is available for all parts of that. And if you want to go further down and you want to move from small data to more complex data, maybe towards big data, then for analyzing data, for strategic predictive analytics, NetDimensions will move you further down that line too. So just to go through what we're going to be demonstrating in a few minutes, the solution we're providing is a SaaS solution. It's will be a real-time replication of production data, accessed through NetDimensions Talent Suite, via a single sign-on, via the standard menu within the Talent Suite itself, and that'll take you straight into analytics. We'll provide data definition structured around domains, so we're not going to let you just go straight at the database, although you could if you want to. We'll try and put in place intermediate layers which give you, I guess, views of data so that when you start off, things aren't too confusing. So domains would be things like training history or certifications or appraisals. And an intuitive report writer. This is we're bringing in Jaspersoft technology. Jaspersoft are the biggest open source business intelligence organization in the world. we're going to be using the very latest version of that, version 5, which was actually delivered in November last year. And so we've intertwined that with our data, and that's what we're delivering analytics using. Alongside the report writer, we'll produce example reports so that people actually can get a feel for what you can build. And that encourages people maybe to just take those reports and amend them if they want. So the architecture is really a case of you've got your database, we'll layer a number of domains, not just 2, I assure you. This is for diagrammatic purposes. On top of the domains, we'll have ad hoc views and reports. If you run a report in Jaspersoft, you automatically generate an ad hoc view. Just to explain, if you've got sorts or filters built into the data, then you can run a different report on the same view if you choose to do that. And then you can bring those reports together in any form you want. A lot of people like combining reports into dashboards. If you're looking at the same data using the same parameters, then it makes sense. For strategic, beyond that, for strategic predictive analytics, we're using the more complex tools associated with Jaspersoft. And we'll be providing additional analytics packages to highlight and exploit the value of information. To a certain extent, this is the natural move. We have to do big data. We're suppliers. We have to understand our data. We can afford to have half a dozen people spending their life just looking and combing through the data and running statistical reports and analysis and looking to find and seek out insight, which we can then just provide to you in standard reports. And that's what we're doing. With the initial release, we're providing a sample set of advanced analytics reports and dashboards. But the remaining additional packages will be delivered throughout 2013. To give you an idea of what these sort of packaged reports will look like, you'll be able to do drill-down reporting by geography, drilling down here from the continents through states to individual areas. You can export in whatever format you want. And we can also do parameter-driven reports. There's the same sort of thing for your analytics presentation. Anyway, at this point, I guess I should hand you over to the actual demonstrator themselves to take you through a run through the system.
Thank you, Adrian. Good afternoon. My name is Ben. I'm just going to show you a demonstration of NetDimensions Analytics. First of all, we're just going to show you the reports we have existing to show you what's possible. Then once I've demonstrated that, I'm just going to go for the ad hoc review, just to show you how simple it is to create domains, create your filters, choose your filters, see what you're actually reporting on, and then choose the chart types. Once I've completed that, then I'm just going to quickly create a quick dashboard overview. So the first thing is I'm going to quickly log in as myself. Okay, so I'm now logged in. I'm just going to go to some predefined reports already. And as you can see here, we have some predefined reports. Most of them are based on the performance side, so we have some based on appraisals, others on job profiles and the competencies. And this is literally streaming real data from one of our demo sites that we use. So I'm actually using demo data. So if I just have a look at predefined reports here, this is just an enrollment distribution report. And I'm just going to select all my categories. So in this example, I'm just going to select everything, all my organization structure, and apply that. And here we are. As you can see here, I have a very attractive pie chart, and you can see here the majority of the user count by enrollment distribution. So you can see here, those that use currently NetDimensions, you're probably familiar with the different learning objects. So we have classroom, virtual classrooms as well, online. And if I wanted to, I can drill in that to find out more information. I can also run that by organization, department, or geographical as well. I'm just going to go back and show you another type of report. Again, this is looking at the training record domain again. And this one's going to use a line of best fit. And likewise, again, I'm just going to select all of my criteria in the organization. And again, here you can see here it has a line graph. So this is telling me my number of enrollments by geographic region. So the blue line is America, the red line is Canadian. So you can see the potential of the analytics within the organizational structure, also against geographical region as well, depending on how you have the hierarchy set up within the NetDimensions system. Just to add on to that as well, there's also the ability to export as well. So we have many different options. We can export to PDF, Excel, normal defaults. We can also export to Flash. What I'm going to show you now here is basically the library of what they call user interface samples. So when the NetDimensions Analytics tool, they actually give you templates of what you can play around with. So if we have a look at panels here, just gives me a graphic interface to show how I can basically make my charts and graphics look more attractive, more appealing. We have a look at buttons as well. You can see here I can have different colors, different graphical outputs as well. So I can use these user interface samples, I can create my reports, and I can apply these. Okay, so I'm now going back to the main menu, and I'm actually now going to go for the ad hoc review. So with the ad hoc review, I'm actually going to select my data from the domains, I'm going to add my filters, and actually create a report. So you can see here I have my domains. Again, they're in folder structures. You can have as many folder structures as you wish. And as you can see here, we've got some domains here. We've got some pulling from the appraisal data, some from job profile, and others from training history. I'm going to use training history in this example. So I should be able to run reports based on user enrollment, learning modules, pass marks obtained, etc. You can see here we have my module properties, my session properties. So those who are familiar with NetDimensions and the system, I can literally just select these. These are pretty much the same parameters in the report wizard as well. So those that use the report wizard is probably familiar with those as well. You can also apply some pre-filters. Again, very simple, drag and drop. So I can bring in module ID, I can bring in the title of the course, learning type. And then you can see I can then have a basic filter if I wanted to. And it's pulling the data here. So you can see here, I have all my existing learning types, including audio cassette. So I can run a course based on online courses if I wanted to and apply that. I also have different output options as well. There's chart and tab. Tab, basically, the best way to describe it, kind of gives me the Excel format, so it gives me the different columns. With the chart option, I have the ability to use the existing charts and the chart wizard, so I can export it into a pie chart, a line chart, bar chart, etc. So you can see here I've got my fields which I've already predefined, and I can simply just drag my columns in. Very simple. Okay, so I'm now going to go back. I'm going to lose that information. And I'm just going to show you the dashboard view as well. So once I've created my ad hoc review, basically that now gives me the parameters to create a report or topic. So if I go back to my predefined reports already, and now I can create a dashboard. So here's my dashboard, very basic view. I can add a title, I can add other charts as well. You can see here I've got my sandbox demo data, so that's the name of the organization I've called it. Of course, you would make it relevant to yourselves. And then I can bring in my information and so forth. Simply just drag it across there, and then you can see it loads the report. And again, even with the dashboard, I can also change my chart type as well, and drag and drop. So there we are, that's NetDimensions Analytics in a nutshell. Any questions? You're going to probably have to shout them out. No questions? Okay, thank you.